So one of the interesting things I really have found out over the years, particularly with saddles and how they should sit on horses, how it affects the horse's movement. And what a lot of people don't realise is when you look at the horse's shoulder blade here, it comes right across here, around like this, the scapula. The top section is cartilage. So right now, if I bring my hand here through like this, where it drops off the soft muscle is the end of the shoulder blade, the end of the scapula. Draw myself a line. Now there's two things I like to point out here is that when the horse's leg moves, that shoulder rotates up and back like this. You see, look at that. Now when I put the leg down, boom, down it goes, tucks back in again. So it basically goes from this to this. I'll do that again. What I'm also looking for is to how much the shoulder blade moves back. Okay, from here I was standing still, now the shoulder blade is back here. So you can see how it rotates up and back every time the horse moves. And you can also see how much it changes shape. So further to that, when you have a saddle measured, what happens is people will measure the horses here, behind the shoulder blade. Of course, that's where the saddle will sit. Any tree, whether it's equestrian trees, or western or cutting trees, however it is. But you've already noticed that when I lift this shoulder and it rotates up and back, this shape changes. So we're looking at something like this to begin with, and the horse standing static. What I do is like to see what shape the shoulder is, measuring on the shoulder blade. Place that here, and you can now see how much gap there is. Look at it like this. This is the shape of your shoulder. This is the shape the tree is that the saddle's been made to. How does this wide shoulder blade squeeze through this narrow tree? Okay? The only reason it does that is because the horse's shoulder blade, this top section is cartilage, the soft bone, it's not a solid bone, this is all bone. If you've ever seen a horse's skeleton, it won't show the cartilage because the cartilage rots away. Cartilage is soft bone. Constant moving back and forth, up and back under a tree that's too tight, it can damage the cartilage bone here, which is the same situation as me doing this with my shoulder blade, like this. Now, one of the things I haven't spoken about yet is your trapezius muscle. Very important triangular muscle here that's attached to the horse's shoulder blade. Now, when that shoulder slides back under the tree, it pinches that trapezius muscle and therefore restricts the horse's movement. You get short, choppy action. It can also affect the horse's head carriage. It can tend to carry the horse's head up a little bit high. Sometimes you see a horse is sunken away here because they've constantly got their head up. Of course, when a horse's head is up, they tend to hollow their back. If they hollow their back, they can't come through with their hindquarters. So a lot of issues around here from saddles being too tight or too narrow or too wide can really affect the way the horse moves itself. In nature, for instance, take in nature how a trapezius muscle works. When a stallion is about to mount a mare, and if the mare doesn't want to play the game the stallion wants to play, the stallion will bite the mare here, in the trapezius, here or here, immobilise the mare and carry on with what he wants to do. So you can see how the trapezius is affected by tightly fitting saddles as well. Again, we'll take our measurement of what the horse's wither shape is behind the shoulder blade. And if we take a standard half-breed or western tree, you would kind of match it up like that. There you can see it's the same shape as the horse's wither. But let's just see how this fits on the horse. Now, some people would say that's a perfect fit because we've got contact all the way through here, a little bit of clearance here that once we pad the saddle up with padding, etc., it's going to sit up like this. But boy, is it tight in here. It's already pressing into the scapula and into the trapezius muscle. So when I lift the horse's leg, it's going to press in so tight in there, it's going to restrict the horse's movement. Long term, what it does as well is you get muscle atrophy. So the muscle doesn't get a chance to develop and move and expand. So therefore, it's constantly got pressure. You get muscle atrophy. If we take something with an adjustable gullet, you see here. Now this one's too wide. Okay, it's even too wide for the shoulders. Look, see, there's too much gap. So it's even too wide. So it sits on the wither. Sure, there's a gap there, a good contact through here, and some would say, well, there's a lot of room through there, but it's too wide. So a saddle that's too wide is just as bad as a saddle that's too narrow. What we aim to do is get the correct fitting gullet in this tree, so we've got a bit of wither clearance, and we've got room for the shoulder to move through here. And that's what we're about to do next.